So put your glue around the edge. I'm going sort of up the centre, and then just do sort of zigzaggy lines. And then press it down. And then do the other side. I need to put the lid on because it's all, as I'm squeezing it, it's going up the wrong end of the tube. So I need to roll them over so that the glue goes in the right direction. That's better. That's better. It's all coming out now. And I'm just going to get my book. I just want to make sure that it's definitely where I want it to be. And then weight it down and leave that to dry. Now we're doing part 8, which is installing the bag feet. So we get piece J, which has the markings for the feet, and I've punched holes in the centre so that I can use my pen to mark through. So I line this up on the Peltex that we've glued earlier, and then I just mark inside so we can see where we're going to be punching the holes. And then, as before, we punch through a hole. I'm going to swap my punch because this seems to be a bit blunt. Okay. Now we're cooking on gas. That's much better. Okay, so that's all the holes inserted, and we get the bag, and we just need to insert the foam into the bag. And we get the first screw and pop the screw in through that hole, and it should, if they're lined up correctly, pop out of the base, which it is just coming out like so. And there you see, and then we just start hand screwing the foot on, and then I will get my screwdriver and now you can, if you want to, glue it, if you like to glue the feet. I don't, because before now I've ended up having an awful mess where it's leaked out and it just ruined the bag, so I don't like to tempt fate. So, and I've never known of one coming undone. I mean, no one's ever reported it to me, and I've never had one come undone on bags I use that I've made. So hopefully they stay put. So there's 2 that are done so far. You don't need to watch me add all 5, so I'll come back when I've done them. Okay, so there's the feet installed. And the next thing I'm going to install before anything else is my handmade label. What I've done is I've got the centre marking still from the placket, so I've lined it up and I've marked where I want my label to go, and I've drawn my lines in. And then using a craft knife, I've punctured holes through and through the foam, because that will help the foam stay up as well as the anchors that we're going to install. I've also used some fray block to stop the denim fraying eventually. And that does work well. So insert the prongs. I'm going to insert them through the bag first, and then into the holes in the foam that I've made. That's better. And then fold prongs down, and so that it doesn't wear on the lining, I just like to put a little bit of Peltex or fusible fleece, whatever I have to hand. And in this case it's fusible fleece, and just waiting for my iron to heat up, which I should have done previously. And make sure I've got the fusible side down. I'm going to put 2 on just to make sure that they do the job. I don't want to put the iron flat because the foam is fusible, so I don't want to get my iron stuck to the foam. one on for added protection. That's done it. So that's my label added. And now for the next section, which is number 9, we're going to do the interior zip pocket and zipper facing. So for that we need piece I, which is the zipper facing, and the piece E, which is the bag lining. So I'm going to have a little tidy up before I carry on and come back. Okay, I'm going to confess something to show you that I am human and that I'm like the rest of us, and I do make mistakes. No matter how long I've been sewing, how many hundreds or even thousands of zipper pockets I've done, I can still screw things up. Admittedly, it's 5:30 in the morning. I haven't slept yet. So I'm probably not thinking to my best, and I probably shouldn't be sewing at this time of the morning. But hey, I love sewing. What I did was I put the zipper facing piece face up, stitched around the box, cut the hole, went to turn it through, and it was like, oh no, it's the interfacing that's going to show. And I realised my mistake. So, not to be beaten by it, I'm not going to cut a new piece of fabric and new piece of zipper facing. I'm going to very carefully stitch it. And what I'm going to do is mark the lines as if I hadn't done it. So we're going 1/2 inch from the edge and 3/4 inch in. Do the same on the other side. I like to show my mistakes because I also like to show people how to correct the mistakes. And because I've cut the V's, what I've done is I've just gone a little bit wider than I would have done initially. And now I'm going to very carefully lay this on, and rather than pinning it and possibly having the pins shove it out of shape, I'm actually going to lay this on top of the lining, and I'm going to stitch it very carefully, making sure that I keep the hole lined up. I shall return and show you. Okay, so I've sewn around it. You can see that I've lined up the lines, and I just want to make sure that I have snipped right to the corner. Because to compensate and make sure I didn't go over the corners that were cut, I just went slightly further out, which is no problem at all. So we've done that, and now I'm just going to press the seam open as such to help with the folding into the other side. Okay, and then we want to push the seam to the other side, bring it through, and it's always a bit fiddly to start with. It wants to resist and go back, but once you've pressed it, it stays quite happily. Okay. I do usually prefer to do the vinyl zipper facings or cork zipper facings rather than doing it this way. I'm not keen on this type of pocket, but I'm doing it because it's the pattern and I thought I'd show you this way. I like to really make sure that the edges are right. There's nothing worse than seeing an untidy zipper facing where the seams aren't straight and they're overlapping either way. So I like to be very, very fussy and spend a good amount of time pressing them. Okay, just want to go over and check everything's straight. And then turn over and just make sure again that on this side it's looking nice and neat. And it really is worth having taken the time to really do nice flat corners, no puckers, which I'll show you in a second. Okay, I'm happy with that. And there we have it. We've got out of the scrape that I was in, and not a problem. So, if you ever do it, you know now how to get out of it. Now, I am going to slightly stray from the pattern here. I don't like doing the zips the way that they're showing it. Sorry, Nutella and Gwen. Nothing against you. When I do it, I always seem to get the zipper pull ending up the wrong way. I don't know why, but if I do it to the pocket, I just always get it the wrong way around. So I do it this way so that I know it's going to be okay. So I get my double-sided tape and I lay it along the edge of the window of the pocket facing. And of course, you guys, if you want to do the pattern way and follow that way, by all means do. So remove the zipper of the double-sided tape backing, if it will let me. Goodness me. Can someone invent a gadget for doing this job? For taking double-sided tape backing off. Because I don't seem to do very well with it. At last. Right, so I've got my zip. And carefully lay the lining down. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, I shall take it to the machine and I shall stitch around the window. Okay, so we've stitched it at the top as well, and now we just need to fold the edge back and stitch down the edge of the seam of the pocket. But another thing that Natelle and Gwen came up with was to do rounded corners, because there's nothing worse when you get all those little bits of fluff that get stuck in the edge of the corners. So they do rounded corners, and that stops the problem, and it's brilliant. So I'm just going to, I always do a rough line just to follow the curve, taking into account the seam allowance. It just helps get a good curve and not have an odd curve. So I'm going to go and stitch that.